Welcome to September 2025. I'm Steven Rothberg. I'm the founder of College Recruiter, and about once a month, a few of us sit down and record one of these little webcasts to kind of share some of the knowledge or what we're thinking of with employers, candidates, other stakeholders at College Recruiter job search site, where we believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career, and that it should be easy and inexpensive for employers to hire them. I am joined today by Jeanette Leeds, our COO. Hello, Jeanette.
Hi, everyone.
And Glen Handrahan, our head of sales.
Hey, Steven. Hi, everyone.
Hello. So today we thought that we would talk about kind of the piece of marketing that can sometimes be hard to remember in talent acquisition. At high level, talent acquisition is marketing, kind of a marketing. And there are loads of things in marketing at a high level and way down in the weeds. We're going to kind of take things a little bit of a high level and talk about kind of three pillars. That is reach, engage, and convert, and also to speak like a human being. So Jeanette, maybe you can talk a little bit about those three pillars, like where they come from.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's interesting as we're thinking about really best practices. It's September, it's back to school. A lot of organizations are, really stepping up and thinking about recruiting, not just interns, but seasonal hires and whatnot. And it's not just about converting, like getting candidates to apply. There's so much effort that goes before that to really get great quality candidates. And so that's, a lot of what have been talking about here at College Recruiter. And so the idea of like reaching first, like outreach, you mentioned marketing, right? Like outreaching to the types of candidates that would be qualified for your roles, right? Like that is so important because if you're reaching out to those, targeted candidates, you're going to have a much better, funnel process, if you will. And then once you reach them, right, like, and brand yourself and employer brand, like the next part that's really important is the engagement, right? Because a lot of these early career candidates, they might not know organizations, right? They don't know what they don't know, right? And so that the important part is like, okay, now we've reached them, maybe you've done some branding, but then also like starting to engage with these candidates so they really understand what your company is about. And once you start to do that, those candidates that ultimately apply or get converted into applications, like those candidates, even if you're being overwhelmed with a lot of different applications, like those are the ones that are going to most likely make it through your process. Because they know your company, they'll be better employee. Like there's just so many great knock-on effects, but sort of taking that step back and starting from the beginning of like, hang on, let me be proactive about this and like reach out to them, now engage them. And so like this 3-step, I don't know if it's like even a pillar, right? Almost like a funnel, right? Of like reach, engage, convert. Like it's such a great best practice that sometimes it's so easy to forget, right? Because we're all like, okay, we just need to get a bunch of people hired and let's go from there. So
like get butts in seats.
Exactly.
And that's not really the goal.
Right. Exactly. So it's I feel like it's been such a topic that we've all been talking about here at College Recruiter, and a number of our clients are starting to really not starting to, but like have been doing pieces of it, and so we're seeing some really great success with organizations that are doing all of that, right? And maybe Glenn, you could speak to a bit about some of our maybe without naming names, because I know we have some confidentiality clauses with some of our clients, but I think it's been really cool seeing them this success.
Yeah, I think our industry is always shifting so fast, and now a problem a lot of our partners and a lot of companies that they're dealing with are just too many applications. Where in 2021 quantity was everything, and now really quality is what trumps it the most. And we found the biggest success we've had is companies that in the recent years have made a change and really focused on long-term, maybe especially instead of just short-term results, and putting the effort into their employee branding, doing things such as, increasing their social presence, redoing their careers page. And something we do here at College Recruiter is we have the capability to email groups of college students directly with maybe potential job opportunities, or just really brand awareness. And it takes some time, but we've seen the companies that we've worked with, once they've done that for 6, 8 months, even targeting an audience they want to reach, engaging them early. Once their jobs get up and once these college students graduate, they're just converting at a much higher rate.
Yeah.
People know about their company. People are interested in their company. They're not just finding a random job that they're applying for. They're actually understanding companies' values and beliefs and searching their career page and waiting for maybe a job opportunity that fits their skills to open up at this company, and then applying, right? And obviously quality is just through the roof. When you get a candidate who knows your company, knows your values, knows exactly, or maybe not exactly, but more or less what they're getting into when they apply. Yeah. So again, some work, some costs up front, but long-term value we feel has been so beneficial to those who've taken the plunge.
So, Jeanette, if I'm an employer, I think a legitimate question is, we're already getting too many applications.
Yeah.
So if I do some outreach to reach more candidates, engage more candidates, doesn't that just mean that I'm going to get more applications? Doesn't that make my problem worse? So correct me.
So that's, I mean, that's like a fair, like, on the same, it's short, like, yeah, you're going to get more. To me, what I see, it's you're getting more of the right candidates for your roles and your companies, going back to like Glen's point around employer branding. And that's the difference versus like, yes, I mean, it's a whole separate thing of like, being overwhelmed by lots of applications, but those ones you've been engaging with and outreaching indirectly, right? That's the key. So it becomes this quality, right? It's like, let's get rid of those, I don't want to say unqualified, again, depending on what the qualifications are for the role, but the ones that are like honing in on that are going to be the best fit. So whether that's, we have some, like, I'm thinking we have some clients that they're very focused on early career candidates who can speak a certain language, right? A certain skill. So like, as again, really simple, right? And so you could have lots of people applying to a role, but if they're not targeted for a very specialized language skills plus combined in, like, so that ability to reach out to those specific types of candidates, right? Get more of those and then engage them, because if you have certain specialized skills, well, there might be a lot of organizations chasing them, right? So it's that engagement, and makes it better. But yeah, listen, I'm not going to go and say and be like, yeah, like more is more. Sometimes it's not, right? And that's a separate challenge that I don't think we can fully address. And there's some other ways organizations can get through the huge number, but it's all about like, what is the right honing in, right? Like targeting in on like what exactly you're looking for and engaging them. Because I keep coming back to this with like early careers. It's not recruiting for, again, when someone has 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience, right? And they're more savvy, like early careers, they just don't know. They haven't been exposed to everything. So it's really an exposure standpoint that's really important. The education piece that just, lots of, listen, I have a kid that's like a year away from college, so I can see, and it's getting summer jobs, and it's so clear. You think everyone knows, he doesn't know everything, right? And
Right.
so that exposure is so key with this population, and which makes it very unique compared to,
Yeah, it's not dumb, it's
it's
inexperienced. And when
inexperience.
you're hiring people early in their careers,
Yeah,
guess what? By definition, they are
they
inexperienced,
are.
right?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Glenn, before we hit record, we were talking a bit about sort of the benefit of better targeting, rather than casting a wide net and trying to get as many applications in as possible, is using that outreach, that marketing on a more targeted basis to, like Jeanette was talking about, like languages, for example. So like if I'm a company and I want to hire Farsi speakers because I'm an intelligence agency or something like that, I don't want to just blast that ad out to every college student. I just want to hit those Farsi speakers and then engage with them.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about some things that maybe you've seen where employers are doing a good job of engagement and what that leads to.
Yeah, so the first one you mentioned, like speaking from a college recruiter standpoint, we've done campaigns where we can email out to graduating students that speak certain languages. We've done some recently with Farsi. We've done some with Japanese speaking students recently. We have capabilities to filter out things such as sex, location, major, GPA, really able to build custom lists for these employers for the type of candidate they're looking to target, and kind of push it out that way. Really at College Recruiter, like we're a job board too. I mean, we do post jobs, but we're less spray and pray. As a niche job board, we've always really been focused on where can we find unique traffic that other kind of generalist job boards, they aren't capturing, or they're not everywhere. We're focused on really putting jobs and engaging in places where college students visit online, whether that be like career services or scholarship sites, like places like that. But yeah, it just makes sense. Like, I don't know if you need Farsi speaking people. What a great opportunity. Like, what a great way to go about it instead of a spray and pray. Like, there's companies out there, like, how do I actually even target these people? Like, how am I able to put it together, a type of campaign? And many TA departments just might not know the tools that are out there that, a company like us, like we do have the data and the lists available to put these email campaigns together for them.
So if I'm an employer and I'm looking for Farsi speakers or people who have an accounting degree or, whatever the background might be that I'm really looking for, and the candidate sees that, do I get them to come to like an open house, an on-campus event? Like, what are some ways that for that actual like engagement, that conversation, that it might be, I'm thinking it could be right before they apply. It might even be after they apply.
Yeah, and some of those you mentioned are right on target. Like, we could send specific job opportunities to these students or graduates. We could send some sort of events, like if you're doing an on-campus promotion and maybe you want to promote that you're going to be on their campus, we can market it like that. If you're doing hiring events, we could market those, and we can just do general brand awareness as well. I used to work for, this is going to date me, but I used to sell advertisements for print advertisements for a newspaper back in the day.
Print. I think I've heard of that.
And I remember they used to say, somebody needs about 8 bonks in the head before they even realize you're there. And that's where this marketing comes in. Like, if you want to build your brand awareness, if you know the types of students you're going to hire, well, why not start maybe when they're juniors, maybe when they're sophomores, right? Start reaching out to them then, building a bit of brand awareness. So when that time comes and the internships comes, or when they're graduated and ready to take on their career, they know who you are. And not only are they not just searching job boards, like, they're going directly to your career site and seeing what you have to offer at that time.
Cool. And Jeanette, I know we're just about out of time, but one thing that I was hoping that we could address, maybe you can tackle this, is employers, like right when you started off, you were talking about like too many applications.
Yeah.
Right. And Glenn, I think you mentioned like 2021, it was just like the more the better, because, hey, there weren't very many. That was the reality. Now I hear from employers, well, we're deliberately making our application process much more difficult in order to reduce the number of applications. Jeanette, maybe you can talk about good friction and bad friction.
Yes, that I love that as just a philosophy. Like, super long applications, that's bad friction. Still, I will never, ever, ever be supportive of that. I think, making candidates jump through unnecessary hoops is just, it's not a great look for your brand. That's, unless that is like your culture, like being authentic, that there's a lot of other ways. Good friction is, understanding what a day in life is as an employee of a company, right? And then maybe, like, I've seen some organizations doing job simulations, right? Like, that's where they can sort of assess candidates. And so to me, that's a good friction, because it gives a candidate the idea of what a day in a life is, what that job is. And at the same time, if there's some assessment going on in the background, great. Like that. So as an employer, you have that. But just to like, let's make a super long application, let me just throw an unnecessary assessment or test out, like just to knock people out. I mean, it's 2025. Like that's, come on, like you can do better than that. And it's not great, but there's so many different ways to add in that good friction where, hey, if someone's really not interested in your company, you're just applying like in one click apply. Okay. Like I get that. That's made maybe too easy. So
Mhm.
there's that balance there of like really thinking through what information do you want to get from that candidate? And what information do you want to give to the candidate about your company, about the role? And it really is a two-way street. And so I think really taking a step back and thinking through that process and how to engage and how to give that information out at, again, what stage? Is it 2 years before, right? Glenn, to your point, like when they're a sophomore, right? It's that, but it is a longer term play with early careers because there is this long educational process. And so that's good friction, even though it takes a longer time. Again, obviously depending on the type of roles, right? If someone, I don't know, lifeguard in the summer, maybe that's a different play versus a, knowledge worker that's going to be, an accountant at, one of the big four. So different types of ways to do it, but just being thoughtful about it is really key.
Cool.
And to tie it all back into employee branding, like how much friction you can get away with is really like tied into your company as well. Like if you're Apple or Google hiring engineers, you probably can do a 45-minute application process and look at a ton of people applying. In the same token, if you're somebody who's built out their brand, made yourself aware, has a presence online, if it's the right opportunity, somebody might go spend that extra 5 minutes applying for your company because they understand who you are more than a random company with the same job.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Perfect. Well, awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Steven.
I'll see you in October.
Oh my God, happy almost Halloween then.
Cheers, guys.
Have a great month, everyone.
Bye-bye.